Hello, welcome. We're back after the long weekend. This is the 63rd show of Get Out of Rap TV. I hope you are all there. You may have noticed I had to change the time on LinkedIn because I did it last week and made a boo boo and put it in for 11. So after the long weekend, plus the time problem, I'm not sure how many people are going to be watching. But I've done one of these shows just talking to myself for the entire 40 minutes, so I'm sure I can cope. But if you are watching, please do say hello in the comments. It would be good to hear from you. And if you've watched and never commented, please do. Just remember, of course, sometimes your comments don't show. I promise you, I'm not ignoring you. As you can see along the bottom, I have to thank my sponsors, also shown up here, my partners, really. That's DDC Outsourcing Solutions, DDC OS, Evaluation, and OneCom. Now, with DDC, the next thing we have coming up is there's going to be a great podcast on Friday with Chara Lee, who is absolutely awesome and the epitome of what a great career can look like in our industry. With Evaluation, I had a great chat last week with Chris Mounts, and we looked at their Evaluation CX, which is just awesome. Um, it really is one of the best bits of kit you're going to see. The capabilities are insane. And also with OneCom, I have a great webinar coming up with them. There is somebody here, and what a lovely human being it is. Finally here. Bit of a where's the link? LinkedIn is being a douche moment. Morning, good morning, sir. Uh, I'm wondering if it's just me and you. Which can be nice and intimate, Danny. I hope you are good, Danny, the culture king of not just our industry but any organization. And culture is a hot topic, and there's no one better than Danny to be able to help you get your organization to be exactly where you want it to be. So good to see you, mate. Um, Let me just add this one in. I'm not ignoring you if there are people commenting on LinkedIn and it's not showing on here. Uh, Tristan, lovely Tristan. How you doing, mate? Good to see you. We caught up not so long ago, but it'd be good to catch up again, my friend. So let's get cracking. I hope you all had a long weekend, a good long weekend. It could be the notif was sending us to a dead end. Oh, really? Had to stalk your profile. Ooh, I wonder why that was. LinkedIn gets a bit funny whenever the clocks change. So, for the two of you then, and for me, here's our first question so we can get to know each other. Oh, Ruler's here. Oh, the nicest human being on the planet, and also awesome at what she does. I hope you and Layla are well. You'll see yourself later on in this show, Ruler, if you can hang around. But it's lovely to see you. So here's the first question so we can get to know each other a little bit better. Um, is your desk tidy, or are you? Yes, indeed, Danny. Now it's a party. Now Ruler's here. Just that smile. We can all imagine that smile. Um, so, is your desk a tidy one or a messy one? Uh, you're way too kind. No, it's all true. It's all true. Just a lovely human being, head of all things at Nuvuna Finance, raising loads of money. I think, are you up to over 30,000 now, Ruler, for Cystic Fibrosis Trust, which is just amazing. Um, yes, is your desk tidy or messy? Where you are working right now, if you look around it, um, is it tidy or messy? Now, you wouldn't believe this from what's behind me, including a lovely gift from you, Ruler, in the corner there. But my desk is tidy. I like to, it can get a bit messy and then I Roomba it. I just Roomba everything out. My mind is messy, so I don't need my my desk to be messy. It just affects my thinking. But where are you? Is your desk tidy or messy? So Ruler, Danny, Tristan, anyone else watching that hasn't yet commented, and it may be that there's not many people here today because of the long weekend, the time. 22,000 in 3 months. That is amazing. It's my first day back from maternity leave. Wow. We are lucky that you're joining us. Thank you. So it's tidy. So should we, if we asked you again in about an hour, Ruler, it's not going to be so tidy, right? Danny, can I guess yours? And Tristan. Tristan and Danny, I'm going to go tidy for both of you two. Am I right or am I wrong? Let me know. Don't worry, there's other good stuff coming. But I just want to, this is a chance for us to get to know each other. Hold on. What does Tristan say here? Could do with a bit of a spruce up, if I'm honest. Well, spring cleaning, although it's British summertime started now. Danny, mine varies. Naturally, it's organized chaos, but there's something nice about clearing it all out and having it sorted twice a year. Yes, a good declutter. Nothing better for the brain than that, is there? It's usually quite tidy as I spend a lot of time on video. Yeah, true. So this bit is curated, if you like. The rest not so much. Okay, let's crack on. So, if you haven't already, we've got a couple more models on here rocking the Get Out of Wrap hoodie. Whilst we are heading towards summer, it's still a great bit of kit, a great garment to have when you're not quite sure of the weather. So, do I can link it to personality traits if you like. Oh, yes, please. Yes, please do that, Danny. Enlighten us because that's what we're here for. But if you haven't got your hoodie, your Get Out of Wrap hoodie comes in 7 or 8 different colors, all sizes. As you can see, the lovely model, the lovely models there. Chrissy, Sham, Chris, Melly. Those are probably my favorites. Although Fola has done me an absolute favor there. I wear mine all the time, Martin. I'll have to send you a pic. Yes, you will. One of the first, in fact, I think, Ruler, weren't you, to get it? Yes, please do send me a pic. We will. I need to add you on this picture of lovely human beings. Okay. Now I don't know if you saw my post the other day, the kind of Get Out of Wrap news update, where I'd been tagged in a post from somebody who I can't remember his name, Piers Linney, I think, who is co-owner of. Oh, Marco's here. Well, Marco, hold that thought. I will be going to see Marco and the team at SSCL this month, and I will be bringing a couple with me as gifts, prizes. But by all means, yeah, please do. Here you go. There it is again. Help yourself, Marco. Great to see you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you and the guys this month. So yeah, if you didn't see my post, I was tagged in an original post and it was an attention grabbing first line that said contact centers will be no more by 2026, or certainly there will be no agents in contact centers by 2026. So not long. And that was because of the advent and the capability of AI agents. And there was quite a long spiel in there about why they don't take breaks. They can learn instantly. They're constantly learning. And AI is the worst it's ever been right now. And it's going to only get better, which is true. You can't argue with that. And then there was a demo where you can leave your mobile number and an AI agent will ring you back. So I thought, oh, I'm going to give this a go. The AI agent, I got a call, but there was no one there. So I rang. I thought, oh, I'm going to ring back and see what happens. I rang back and spoke to an AI agent, and I just shared in the video. It was really, really impressive. Now that, um, but I didn't say where I am on this. I'm just saying, look, it's coming, and how are we all feeling about whether we're going to utilize it? We have plans to utilize it. We do or we don't, or we're a bit kind of skeptical. I just wanted to open up that conversation, and it led to a lot of comments, a lot of very passionate comments, which was great to see. So I wanted to garner your opinion and ask you this. This is our question for the day. Will advisor or agent numbers, I don't like the phrase agent, but it's the most commonly recognizable one, isn't it? So, will advisor agent numbers decrease, increase, or stay the same over the next 5 years? And be thinking in your answer around, will they be, is it because they're going to be replaced with agent AI? And you can see on my profile the video that I shared, or on my YouTube channel, where I talked a little bit about the interaction. The interaction was impressive. Other people had demos where there were some problems with names and things like that. But on the whole, I think people were impressed. Danny is kicking us off. Decrease without question. And Danny, do you think that's going to be a rapid decrease, or just gradual over time, or kind of in line with how the capabilities improve, and also the cost of obtaining this type of technology comes in? Because I guess the other factor for all of us to consider, of course, is the extent to which customers are going to be okay with it. I think about something I've got to do this week, which is speak to my utilities company. Would be okay, I think, with dependent on the nature of the call. Um, I think if I was talking about a bill that came through where there was a discrepancy, I'd probably still want to talk to a human. But if it was to, I don't know, provide a meter reading, something relatively simple, uh, I would be okay with that. Uh, I guess until you've done it a couple of times, there will still be a question of, will they, will this be updated? Um, the largest cost in a business is the humans. Any technology that can reduce the reliance on the humans has always resulted in a loss of employees. Yes, that's so true, isn't it? All the big leaps within business and the industrial revolution onwards and things like that is because we found quicker, better, cheaper ways to do things. There were some really interesting comments on the original post around. It's not necessarily a question of whether we would, and it was more should we do it? This kind of, is it the right thing to do? And then you start entering into not only the talent pool of where people are, but in our industry, but also the impact we're going to have on the community, because a contact center has a positive benefit to a local community. Will it have less of a benefit because there's just less people there? The implications for BPO and things like that. Um, Marco says decrease. However, the job itself will completely transform. Complexity will increase, and so will end user expectations. New roles will appear, though, e.g., data scientist. Yeah, that's right. Data journalist being another one. Those kind of, there's a crossover now between just kind of techno coding and app development into customer facing stuff. So, great point, Marco. Danny says, I don't think customers have that much choice. When chatbots, IVRs, online banking, or a cruise line are removing all booking options other than via a smartphone, the customer broadly has no choice other than to not use that supplier. So true, even when it comes down to physical locations, branches of banks and post offices shutting, people have found other ways. Ruler says, yes, I watched it. I did think about this a lot over the weekend. Agent numbers will definitely decrease, but this will be a fantastic opportunity for us to redirect the agent resource to our most vulnerable customers so they can deal with the more complex inquiries. So true. That's a really nice shout, Ruler. It is without a doubt scary, and we need to acknowledge that for our agents and people. Um, yes, really good point, because you do wonder whether we've always worked in a world where people consider that advisor or agent role as a stopgap, as something they're only going to do for a short period of time. There's no longevity in it. And then during that time, we talk to them about the possibilities of staying and having a career, whether that being a leader of agents, a team leader, a manager, and so on, or by branching out into other departments. And of course, with less agents, there's less of a need for HR, there's less of a need for training, there's all kinds of implications around the contact center by those customer facing numbers dropping. Danny, yeah, you're right. Prompt engineer and variants is the fastest growing role in the last 12 months. And I think there's also some interesting work being done on even things like QA. So, that kind of feeding back, if you like, to an AI agent and amending some of the responses based on that, listening to the interactions. There's still going to be a need for it, but the role is very different. Even our language is going to change, isn't it? The language that we use is going to change. Tristan, I'd vote for staying largely the same but slightly decreasing. There will always be complex case in any business where AI won't be able to completely satisfy the request. I think and hope that it will drive businesses to provide much better levels of service when we do need to speak to someone, i.e., reduced wait times and agents that have time to become more highly skilled. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Tristan. Great comment. If we can reduce wait times, we know that that is going to have an impact on customer satisfaction scores, CX scores, NPS, or however you measure it. We know from the read along that that's the single biggest thing for customers, which is get to my call quickly. Stop making me wait so long. And it's a really, really good point around, will we then have more time, and should we use that time to really multi-skill agents? So yes, I'm kind of with you. I think there will be a decrease. The other thing to think about is that whenever there has been new technology, and I think I can't remember who I was talking to, but I remember going to the contact center national conference, and it was at the time when speech analytics was the current gold rush. This was, everyone was talking about it. It was the most kind of sought after bit of kit, and if you don't get it, doom and gloom. If you do get it, you're going to propel your performance. um a year later, they were talking about speech analytics on the stage, and the speaker asked, bearing in mind there was like 350 people within that audience, the speaker asked, given that speech analytics has now been around for a year, out of all of you, just to show of hands, who has it? And there were like 5 people who said, yeah, we have it and we're using it. So that kind of, the take up of new technology isn't, or hasn't to this point been as quick as the exponents of it kind of want to create, I guess. So, we know, don't we, from this read along, that 50% of contact centers are still using Excel for WFM right now. So that's going to be a factor in it as well. I guess the follow up to this question is, if we all agree that they're going to decrease, what should we be thinking about in terms of still attracting talent to our industry? Do we use AI as a talking point and something for people to get excited about? Or do we use other roles, or a bit of both? Because there will be an impact. We see numbers drop, there's going to be an impact. There'll be less people coming through, um, Ruler, Marco, Danny, Tristan, you've all been on the phones like me. Who would be next? At what point does that start dropping off, and how does that change? Danny says, we tend to overestimate when the impact of a new technology will deliver change our world, but underestimate how much that change will actually be. Yeah, very, very astute, as usual, Danny. Overestimate when, underestimate how much change there will actually be. So, one thing is certain, it is a fascinating time to be in our industry. And we can approach this in one or two ways, right? We can become informed and find out more about it. We can think about how best to use it. So if that point comes, we're super prepared, or we could bury our head in the sands, or somewhere in between, right? So I think the more we go on, the more we find out about it, the better. That said, um, you can't go to any kind of conference or expo or meeting, webinar, without there being a mention of it. And sometimes I think there's too much. Whoever's putting together the agendas need to think about, right, how many titles have got AI in them. I think we've got enough now. Otherwise they're going to become like AI conferences. Now, still on the topic of agents, I do hope you'll be joining me on this webinar, which is now, I can say, is this month. It's at the end of this month, so there's plenty of time to register and also prepare your questions. It's going to be a live webinar, which is great. I much prefer live. And I'm going to be joined by the lovely Neris and the cool as a cucumber Nick. Very cool guy, very calm, which is probably going to be needed with me and Neris. He will keep us on track, but it's going to be about agents and engagement and empowerment. And we've been putting together a lot of good stuff and having some great conversations already. It would be brilliant if you can attend. Now, I appreciate that the link here, it's a difficult one to remember, but if you head over to OneCom, you will be able to see the webinar there, and I will put it in the comments and in the newsletter later on today. But I'm really, really looking forward to that. So's Nerish. She's messaging me about this all the time, so we're ramping it up. But it should be good. Very passionate about what we do for our team members in the here and now. We've been talking about the future, but right now there's hundreds of thousands of people talking to customers right now, and how do we best support them, give them real autonomy, let them show them what's possible in our industry, and just kind of work with them on feeling valued. So though all of those topics we're going to go through in the webinar at 10 a.m. April the 30th. Please do come along. It'd be great to see you and interact with you on that forum. Now, Danny, I feel like I feel like you love these, but it is time for it's the read along. Now, we are going through the UK contact center decision makers guide for 2024. Can't believe we did 2023. Oh, great! I'll be there. Look forward to it. Neris is as brilliant as you. I bow to Neris. She's far more competent than me. I'm just there to say daft stuff. So, yeah, we're doing the read along. We are just coming to the end. We're on page 75. Great publication this is. I think really gives you a insight into our industry and gives you the opportunity to see where you are as well. So we are on the use of we've got the use of noise cancelling microphones and headphones, earphones, especially prevalent now, more so than pre-pandemic, because of the amount of people we have working from home. So cancelling the noise around our guys when they're talking, but also when they're listening to customers, has probably never been more important. And you can see, certainly in noise cancelling microphones, that 87% of all of the respondents use them. 4% use some of them. Some of their team have them. And 9%, none of the team, none of their customer facing colleagues have them. Less prevalent on headphones, which I found interesting. I thought it would be the other way around. So for the respondents, 68% of them said all of their team had noise cancelling headphones, earphones. 11% said some of them do. Didn't actually say what some. What does that mean? 21% still had say none of their team have noise cancelling headphones, earphones. Now, the technology is so good. I mean, it's a million miles away from when I was on the phones, but it did used to kind of affect you. Sometimes it was hard to concentrate and be really present with a customer due to the noise around you. You know, I was always in busy contact centers. One in particular, it was a bit of an issue. You know, when all the shifts were in, you had to kind of hold on to your headphones like this, and that just made it difficult. It made it difficult to take notes. You had to repeat yourself to. You had to ask a customer to repeat themselves. So that 21% of the respondents, you know, we're talking some 400 decision makers, said none of their team have them. I found that strange. What does this mean, though? And I found this table really interesting. So, what is the cost of mishearing? And I like the train of thought here. It's possible to estimate the industry-wide cost of mishearing and having to repeat, as I just mentioned. So, our industry handles 5.38 billion inbound calls a year. If 21% of calls require a sentence repetition, that's 1.13 billion. The assumed increased length of a call due to repetition is 15 seconds. I really should kind of go on to read the blurb around it, around the assumptions that are being made. But let me carry on. Average call duration 7 minutes. Therefore, 3.5% of the call is repetition. We know that the mean average cost per inbound call is £5.58. Cost of time spent on repetition is 19.8 pence. Therefore, the theoretical industry-wide cost of repetition is 224 million per year. Then if you applied that to a 250-seat contact center, average calls per agent in that position is 12,688. Just look at that. I mean, that alone is staggering. 2,664 calls per agent per year. Sorry, I was just laughing at this, Danny. Calculation does feel a bit of an average of an average of a guess of an average of an extrapolation of an average. Yeah. There's a lot of assumptions, but I guess it's the point being that the number at the end is going to be quite big, right? That this is a challenge, and kind of comes back maybe to our the question of the day, right? AI agents don't necessarily have to worry about background noise, do they? I don't know. Um, Anyway, so the cost of repetition per year for a typical 250 seat contact center, £130,793. And I guess all of this comes back to that kind of AHT KPI that is always going to be there. It's always going to sit in the background. So impactful numbers based on a train of averages and guesses, and as Danny said. However, there's a cost. One thing that we can't argue with. There's a cost, and especially if you think 21% don't have noise cancelling headphones. Again, you extrapolate that to the industry. Fascinating stuff. Now we're coming to a section that I have a special interest in. I know people like Chris, Evalu Agent, and Peter Dan. I'm not sure if Peter's with us today, but we're coming to the QA section, which is always interesting. So let's have a look at something that you would think is just a given now, right? The use of call recording by Vertical Market. So dark green is used now. We've got no plans to replace or upgrade. We're happy, thanks. Light green is we use it now. We are looking to replace, upgrade. You're putting a target on your back when you say that. Yeah, we're looking to replace and upgrade it. Boom, you're getting a sales call. And also with the yellow, we're going to implement it within 12 months. And then red is no plans to implement. I think I'm drawn straight away to red there, where 9% of people in the TMT sector and retail and distribution, 9 and 8% said we are fine without call recording. I've done a bit of consultancy in the past, and my fact find, because I didn't ask this question, I was surprised once when I turned up at a contact center and they had no call recording. The only way they could do anything was live listening, which is just so restrictive, and felt odd. Let's say that they didn't record their calls. You can see for everybody else, BPOs outsourcing 100%. All of them have call recording. Housing, everyone's got it, but there's a high percentage there of respondents who said we're going to upgrade it, because I guess it's been around for a while. Technology's improved so much in this area as well. Mainly in kind of call retrieval and call tagging and finding the right calls to get something meaningful from feedback is probably the biggest one. Interesting that outsourced partners are 100% recorded. Are they more serious about service or having to evidence quality to the client? We know the answer. Yeah, they are a lot of outsourcers, and I've been one myself. I found that I learned far more because it was so requiring. It was requiring based on all of the differing needs of all of our different clients. A lot of similarities between a lot of them. Number one, absolutely, again, was considered a given, is all of our calls are recorded. We want to be able to listen. We want reports. We want reassurance through having the recording and the analysis of the recording that our standards are being met. So yes, we do know the answer to that, Danny, don't we? Okay. This one is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And I'd love to get your opinion. But this is, who does the monitoring? and therefore, and also the feedback. And this, I don't know why this surprised me, but it really did. So they've split it by the size of the contact center. So dark blue, large, medium, small, and then the yellow or orangey yellow is the average. So of the respondents, the average was that 90% of the time, um, team leaders and supervisors are the people doing the monitoring. 90%. Hi Spencer, how you doing? Hope your dog's okay. Spencer went to the vet today with his dog. Happy Easter to you too, sir. I should have done this in bunny ears. 90% of team leaders, in our industry then, 90% of the monitoring is done with or done by team leaders. I hope they were gentle with you, Spencer, and that your fur grows back. Yeah. I took our cat to the vets recently. I was like, whilst I'm here, then you can see actually the large contact centers, 74% of them said we have a dedicated quality team. You wonder there's got to be some mix over there because whilst I think it's absolutely necessary for whilst it's absolutely necessary for team leaders to do some monitoring, I think to ask them to be the people that do it all is too much. It's absolutely too much. All good apart from the vet bill. Yeah. Ooh. Your fur hasn't grown back. Age. It's an age thing, Danny. Best way to know your team, their strengths, their gaps. Oh, absolutely. I totally agree, Marco. And that's what I mean. They should absolutely do some. It should be regular and it should be extensive because if I'm a team leader, the only way I'm going to know how good someone is in my team or how I can coach them, how they are, even just how they are in themselves, is by monitoring their contacts. It should be regular. It should be really progressive. It shouldn't be tick box, or some elements of it should be. They have to be right. My point is they shouldn't be the ones solely responsible. I think they should be doing their standard, whether it's one per agent per week or whatever. But actually, that should be to help them in their coaching and everything else. It shouldn't be when the company says, "How's our QA?" They just look at team leaders, and that's another thing for team. Just my opinion, and I know actually there's a lot of great contact centers that make it work. Although some centers do focus on quality, what I've seen is more about compliance. Did they say X? Did they complete DPA? Did they note the account accurately? It's not really quality to me. And and that Danny is something within Evaluagent's world and with PAIDA BPA quality. That's something and for me as well, kind of in my previous life, one of the things that you can especially see now is kind of auto monitoring can pick up that kind of, did something happen, yes, no, especially because the thing you're expecting to happen is happening at the same time in the call. You don't necessarily need your team leader or your QA person to be able to have to do that bit. You want that can be picked up by auto scoring, can be picked up by so much of the technology that's out there. I mentioned at the start, Evaluagent CX's technology and what they're able to do and pre-populating output, pre-populating a scorecard with the results that you just need to kind of check now and again is fantastic. Ruler says, this is a constant debate in our industry. TLs and supervisors should be focusing on coaching and people development. But when they have 12 people on their team, this makes it impossible. TL should complete side-by-sides and regular soft skills call listening, and QA focus on the compliance element. I do agree it depends on the size of the contact center, but also the industry, i.e., e.g., financial services or retail, etc. I agree, Ruler. That kind of what are they doing the monitoring for? It is soft skills, coaching, finding things that they can coach their team on. Um, did the customer leave the call happier than when they joined it? And then this was a measure that we put in when I was at BPA. You know, you can have all of your compliance, and sometimes someone could not necessarily do all the things they were meant to do from that point of view. However, the interaction was great, customer was happy, so happier than when they joined. We needed somewhere to reflect that, to say we're going to talk to you about some of the finer details, and they may be that some of them were important. However, how you interacted with that customer, how you made them feel, and how you conducted yourself was great. Now, a lot of the time, the scorecards that we saw didn't necessarily have that. You weren't able to capture that. You just kind of were reporting bad news and saying you didn't do X, Y, and Z, and that means your score is a fail, or your score is 50%, or whatever the scoring methodology is. Whereas you wanted to be able to say, actually, in the interaction, it was really good. Marco says compliance versus quality are two different things. Yeah, you're both in agreement there. If your call center were a superhero, what a question. What would its compliance themed superpower be? And how would it ensure that every call is a compliance victory? Well, I would say it would be that they're treating every customer as an individual. It's a real challenge when you're on the phones to show up and be present time after time after time and be invested in that customer. You know, if you're not, especially because the vast majority don't really give you anything back. The best people I saw were the ones that did have this superpower of being present and going, I'm going to connect with you. Guess what? In a few minutes' time, I'm going to connect with somebody else again. Yeah, so you two are agreeing. Even I'd be aluminium man. I'd spend my time foiling crime. Stand still, bank robber. I need to cover you in this tinfoil. Aluminium man. That's a cracker. That is an absolute cracker. Right. How effective is QA? Interesting, this one. Very interesting. So green is very effective. Yellow, somewhat effective. Red is ineffective. And black is don't use QA for this. So the most popular, or the thing that's considered the most effective, is evaluate agent performance and training requirements, then followed by enable regulatory compliance, insight used to improve contact center, insight used to improve CX, insight used in rest of the organization. And for that, I read processes. So that from any of those sentences that have insight at the top, that's a huge opportunity for our industry. And one of the biggest things we saw as a miss in my time at BPA, that people were not fully utilizing what's possible through having your customer context monitored, analyzed, shared. You know, it was very much focused on agent performance, rightly so, and that's where it all starts. Very much focused on regulatory compliance, which is a necessity for a lot of contact centers. However, whilst you're doing it, the output gives you so much you can use to improve your contact center, to improve your CX, and to improve the processes that exist within your contact center. And so often that wasn't even a consideration. You know, just being able to allocate time and people and a process to say, okay, we've got this output. How are we going to use it to improve our center, our CX, and our processes, and therefore efficiencies, there's nowhere else where you're going to get continual, comprehensive, great data in order to be able to do that. And it's overlooked and evidenced here. No, here. And it's overlooked in so many areas, and maybe that's linked to who's doing the monitoring. And this isn't a poo-poo of team leaders. I would never do that. Naturally, I've the team leader community and everything, and where my heart is. However, what I'm saying is, if you've got team leaders doing the monitoring, but you also have QA dedicated people, either or can then focus on this insight. Spencer's throwing in another question. If your call center were a chef, what dish would best represent your quality assurance process? Are we talking about a meticulously crafted gourmet meal, or more of a throw everything in a pot and hope for the best? Well, I like to say we should be going Michelin star, right? What the answer is, I think, is evidence through stuff like this. Thankfully, there is a lot more to come in the QA section. I hope you will be joining me next week. We'll have our time sorted out by then. We won't have a long weekend or a short week. There she is. So I've created a little team Get Out a Wrap. As Rula mentioned in the comments at the start, there's lovely Layla. Trying to raise 30,000, already up to 21,000 now. The watchers of this show, in one show, we've raised £30 so far, which I'm very grateful for, but I would love us to contribute more to what is a fantastic cause from a fantastic person and beautiful daughter there. If we can do our bit. Now, I have got some things planned which will be sponsored events, but for now, if you can give anything to the lovely Rula and Layla and this amazing cause, I'd be very, very grateful. It would be nice to do our bit and support what is a, there's no cure right now for cystic fibrosis. So doing something like this, you're really adding value. You're giving this organization the ability to try and make children's lives so much better. And what better cause is there than that, especially when you've got someone like Rula who has done so much for charitable causes all of her career in her local community. You only have to listen to Rula on the podcast or any other things that she's been on to see what a force of good she is. And this is our chance to reciprocate and to thank her for that. So you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. It's my pleasure. So thank you all very much. Thanks for sticking with me. Always thought there were going to be lower numbers today, but that doesn't mean to say I haven't enjoyed it, because Tristan, Danny, Spencer, Rula, Marco, anyone else that was watching, if you haven't added a comment, or if you did and it didn't show up, I'm very sorry. It's not me. I'm not ignoring you. If you've been watching and didn't comment, then maybe add a comment next week. It'll be good to see you. Oh, hi, Rach. Coming in right at the end there. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go, I haven't done this. I'm always forgetting something. So, from all of the comments that you've seen today, whose comment should I feature in the newsletter that I'll create later on today? There's been loads of really good ones, but whose should be the comment of the day? Why trade in your Get Out Wrap gear for a Gymshark hoodie? Are we ditching the struggle for freedom for cozy workout, or is it about flexing those customer service? I'm actually going to get a Get Out a Wrap one with the same sort of font. Comments via the computer work. On mobile phones, comments don't show live. Oh, That's interesting to know. Um, Scott's here. Hello, buddy. Watching, listening, or catching up with a few days worth of emails. Yeah, hope everyone had a great Easter weekend. So Spencer's comment has got the nod. I don't want to keep you all any longer. Please do join me next Tuesday at 10 here on LinkedIn for the 64th show, Spencer for sure. So Spencer, your comment is going to be comment of the day in the newsletter. Thank you all for joining. Thanks to my partners, Evaluagent, DDC, and OneCom. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do this or eat. Thank you all very much and have a lovely rest of the day and the rest of the short week.